So now we will take questions, and on your screen is where to submit your questions. Please submit your questions to skag.com/skag-live-event. And we will get to as many questions as we can. We've had an incredible number of great questions thus far, and we thank each and every one of you. We will try to answer as many of them as we can. Now, various people have already asked, as the program has been going, have you thought about making an XYZ product? You know, this product or that product. Can you let those watching know how SCAG decides what they're going to make next, what they're going to create?
Sure, I could take that one, Lee.
Okay.
And the guys will probably help chime in on that one because it's a collective thing. It's not just one person.
Okay.
When it comes to new products, I think we mentioned it a number of times, and I know myself, I've said it, that the feedback that we get via social media, via our current customers that are buying our products today, our dealers, our distributors, things like this, GIE, we take that feedback and we take it seriously. Now, doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to build everything that everybody wants because we'd have, you know, a million different pieces of equipment running around. Sure. So we try to satisfy with the things that we're doing the majorities. Not to say that we don't look down other avenues, but we do look at those things. Now, after we take that feedback and we hear things in numerous times, we get together as our new product development committee and we look into those things. And I know for certain that even today, I know we've gotten some questions already on things like because of the turf storm, because of the windstorm, because of the V-Ride, all these stand-up products. I know for certain that we've gotten questions on a stand-up aerator. I know it's happened, and it's actually one of those things that we have talked about. It is on our radar. It is as a group that we've brought up a number of times, and we've done some analysis on it. So it's there. I mean, it's something that we're looking at. Another one that I know has come up, it's come up recently, and again, I heard the question came up, so we're going to go ahead and answer it right now. As Jake talked about the Patriot, we had a customer that brought up previously to today a 48-inch Patriot. On our last product development meeting, we talked about a 48-inch Patriot.
Yes, we did.
So again, people are asking these questions, and it's really funny that we answer these questions right now.
Sure.
And it's funny that we go to the shows that we go to and how many things that people ask for the previous year that we bring back to the show the following year. Right. And it's, I mean, if we had a list that we would put up on a dry erase board, we could just check things off every year that customers are asking for that we provide them. Again, what did I say earlier? As a manufacturer, we could build whatever we want. We don't. We want to build what our customers are looking for, what they want to buy, and what our dealers want to sell.
Of course.
Right. We're constantly evaluating that list pretty much on a regular basis. Like Dennis said, you know, Matt, myself, Jake, Chris Frame, our president, and a couple other guys, we sit down every quarter. We go over the list of products that we get suggested to, and we review it as a group and figure out, okay, is this something that we should really consider? You know, the 32 V-Ride, for example, was something that came out of that. Dennis and Chris were at a distributor meeting, I believe, a year and a half ago, roughly, and it came up a number of times, and they both were like, well, where is this coming from? You know, so we love that feedback because that's how we go. I mean, we can't just sit in a room and come up with stuff on our own. We got to have other people tell us what we need to be doing. So
that says a lot about your company because if people are asking you to build these things, they trust what you're doing.
And we trust them giving us the right feedback to make sure we're focused in the right area.
That's great. We have another question. Tyler A. wants to know, when will the V-Ride 2 have an available stripe kit? Matt, do you want to tell us about that?
Sure, yeah, I can. We've heard that question before, and we actually had that in mind when we were redesigning the suspension platform on that V-Ride. Okay. We kind of had that in mind, knowing that a stripe kit, you know, was something we wanted to work on in the future. So we may or may not have one in the lab right now, an early prototype. It's getting late in the year to be testing it, but we're getting there, and it'll be available soon, I think.
All right, that sounds good. A few people have also asked, are the caster yokes on the Turf Storm going to be stainless under the paint? Matt, you want to take that one?
Sure. At this point, they're not going to be. They're going to stay out of carbon steel, and we use a stronger steel on our caster yokes. We have for years on all of our mowers, and also on our turf storm. It's a high strength steel, a 50 minimum yield steel, and stainless just doesn't come that strong. I mean, stainless we use, I think it's grade 304L.
304L.
And that's got a much lower yield strength. So to get the same thickness with the carbon steel, we'd have to go probably 3/4 inch thick or so, and it just really prevents a lot of other challenges.
That makes sense. That
I think
makes
we're
sense.
also going to be making a change on that for production on the yokes. We were looking at, Matt, tell me if I'm wrong, but aren't we looking at a 1/2 inch thick steel, carbon steel yoke with a larger stem, the 1 inch stem?
That's correct. Right now, yeah, our riders have 3/8 thick steel, X1050. The spreader sprayer will have a 1/2 inch thick. And that's really due to the longer fork on it, because of the larger diameter front wheel just puts more load through the shaft, through the yoke. And so we address that with a 1/2 inch thick.
So this is a kind of interesting one. We've had a few questions come in about if there will be machine shortages as a result of COVID-19. Everybody's mowing, everybody's taking care of their yard.
Yeah,
Dennis?
I'll grab that one.
All right.
I got to deal with that one firsthand, so that one's all, I love that one. Actually, because this year, I mentioned earlier that the retail sales that we've had this year have been really good because people were home, they were buying our equipment.
Sure.
It didn't create so much a shortage as components created a shortage. Earlier in the year when COVID hit, there were plants closing down. Now, we were up and running, but we had supplier plants that were closing down, shutting down for a week, 2 weeks, whatever it was they were doing, cleaning, which we do. Sure. When they were doing those things and they were notifying us, we actually sent our own trucks to go pick up parts. So we were actually contacting them and saying, when are you closing? They said, well, we're going to close for 2 weeks. We're closing effective on Friday, at noon. And we said, we'll have a truck there. And we sent our trucks in to pick up components. Just to make sure that we are going to be able to supply the demand when it came to the product offerings that we have and what customers were looking for. Now, there's no guarantees going forward that we're going to have components and we're going to be able to build products, but that has probably been the one thing that we've ran into this year that was really a big struggle for our production team, for our purchasing team, for our guys in R&D, for Pat and service. Jake was having to handle those contacts. I was getting them from distributors and dealers. Not that there was a shortage, but there were some delays because of waiting on components.
Yeah, and we do have some multi-source suppliers for certain things, and we try to keep it that way, not obviously for COVID-19, but
Sure.
for obvious reasons to make sure we're not getting shut down by a supplier. We're constantly in communication with our suppliers throughout the chain to make sure that we are in supply of components regardless of any situation. We don't want to shut production down anytime. COVID-19 is a different deal, but just to keep production going, it's a good thing to have multi-source with a lot of things, tires, seats, that type of stuff.
Excellent. Well, it's a smart way to do business.
Right, that's right. I want to speak to that a little bit too. We spend every Friday, we sit down for about an hour with the purchasing group, myself from engineering, a few others from the company, and we talk about some of our risks on the supplier side, and where is our biggest risk? What do we do to mitigate that risk? Is it having the alternates, and sometimes the alternate's not available, and so then you have to go to really just better communication with that supplier and work through it and help them help us.
Communication is key.
Yeah.
You got to have good
Especially this
communication.
year.
Mhm, absolutely.
This year. Next question. Scott T. from Evansville, Indiana says, will the 30-inch machine be available with any of the 30-plus horsepower engines as found on the Cheetahs and Tigers?
I'm sure you're jumping to do that, right?
Yeah, we always get asked more horsepower, but I think that might be excessive, so I think it's a hard no. Dennis, you work out twice a day. I don't think you could push that mower around, or
I don't think I could.
if it had a 30-horse engine on it.
That would be a challenge. I don't know about belt life on a 30-inch mower with a 38 FX1000 on it.
Good luck trying to pull it
Yeah.
over.
I don't want to see somebody start
Try
that
a
one.
recoil start
I
on
want
that.
to see that Scott T. from Evansville start that
Yeah,
one.
good luck.
Oh, we have another one from Indiana. Dave in Indiana has a question on the new extended warranty program. Will that be for gold dealers or will it be for all the dealers? And others also want to know about pricing and length of coverage. Pat, what can you tell us about that?
Sure. That will be for all dealers. It's not strictly for Pro Gold dealers that we have. It'll be for every dealer that we have throughout the nation. As far as pricing and stuff like that, you'll see more details on that going forward. So stay tuned for that. But again, all dealers that we have nationwide will have the ability to sell that.
All right. Here's a question we've gotten a lot. I'm going to change the oil in my hydraulic system. What kind of oil should I use? Does it need to be a synthetic? Pat, is that something you can
Yep,
handle?
I'll absolutely take that one. Always with the hydro systems on our product, we try to certify it to use a standard oil, not a synthetic based, and it goes across the product line. So when we develop a product, it doesn't matter what size it is, if it has a hydro drive system in it, we send it to Parker, we send it to Hydro Gear. They have to go through and do the certification testing on the machine. So we try to design it around a certain type of oil. Obviously, synthetic oils are pretty pricey, and with some of the intervals that you have to do for oil changes, it can be pretty costly. So we try to design it so it doesn't need it. You can certainly use it. The only thing that I would suggest if you do decide to change to a synthetic or want to use it, I would do it right away at your first oil change and then stick with it the rest of the way through. Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Here's a common question. I need a part for my machine. Can I order it directly from Skag, or does Skag sell parts online?
I'll take that one again, I
Okay.
guess.
All right.
Not a problem. I'll answer anything you guys got. We do not sell parts online. We never have. We do have dealers that do sell parts online across the country, so just be aware of that, where you order them from, where they're actually coming from. Most of them will be Skag OEM parts, but you got to verify that with the source you're getting them from, but we do not sell anything direct.
Okay.
Everything is two-step, distributor to dealer
Go
to
the
customer.
dealers.
So.
Okay, fantastic. This person says, I bought my Turf Tiger in 2001. Nice longevity. I want to buy a new machine, but my spouse is giving me a hard time about it.
Look at the time, I think.
How can I convince them that I need a new mower? All right, who wants to take this one?
I'm out.
Buy now and ask for forgiveness later. How about that?
I would just go to our website, look at some of the fancy yards with the turf tiger stripes all over them, and there's really nice looking quality cut you can get with these new mowers.
Increase in productivity on the newer mower. When we went from the 1 to 2, saw some productivity increase there. More time to do the honey to-do list there. Another good option. Another
Suspension
good
seat.
reason. Suspension seat, more comfortable. She can actually ride, maybe.
Excellent.
More horsepower.
There you go.
More
More
horsepower.
horsepower, there you go.
All right.
And you know what also helps? Candy, dinner, glass of wine, massage,
There we go.
spa day. And then you go buy it while she's at the spa.
Amen.
All right, this one is, I like to run my machine at about 3/4 throttle when I'm cutting in order to save a little gas. But I've been told I shouldn't do that. What would you recommend?
I will take that one as well, I guess.
All right.
In that situation, we would not recommend running at 3/4 throttle. We always recommend full throttle. You're really not going to save fuel per se if you run at 3/4 throttle. You're actually probably going to consume more in some cases. So we always recommend full throttle when you're cutting, never below that.
All right. I always think, when I'm mowing, if I always have mine full throttle. I can't even imagine running it lower, because I would think it would actually somehow cut worse.
There's a potential for that. I mean, it obviously affects everything down the chain. So you slow down your ground speed, you slow down blade tip speed. So we always design it to run full throttle.
I just want to get it done. So.
That's right.
That's why you need one of these, Lee. You got to buy
do,
a Skag.
do.
A nice Turf Tiger would be great for you.
Matt, can you talk about the HP engines on the 30-inch mower?
Well, I think we've already talked about that.
Did we talk about that? Well, we can move on.
Well, 30 horse plus. I mean, this engine here on this 30-inch mower is the Kohler 224.
Right.
I think that's,
I'm not sure what that's rated at.
somewhere under 10. Yeah, 7 or 8 or somewhere in there.
All right. I think you'll like this one, Jake. Lacey G in Dallas wants to know, why is Skag simply the best?
It's a great question. Really, you look at product, you look at dealer support, distributor support. We can make an awesome product, but
Yep.
if we don't have the support on the back end, on the dealer level, on the distributor level, we couldn't be simply the best. Speaking directly to what I do, the social media side of things,
Sure.
and kind of going big picture on what we've talked about with listening to feedback. there's many instances where I'll see something when I'm going through Skag Nation or just replying to comments or direct messages where someone brings something up, a suggestion, or they have an issue. I can easily go to Pat, I can easily go out to the engineer that designed that product and get them an answer right away. I mean, we pride ourselves on the response time, on being able to help customers when they have issues that they run into. And I always look at it that issues are unfortunate to run into. You're going to always run into them. We're going to strive to not run into many and keep that minimal. But when you have an issue, it's an opportunity for you to really shine with your customer service. And again, getting back to, you got to keep in mind with two-step distribution, if Lee has an issue with his Freedom Z, he can go to his dealer. If his dealer needs support, he's got a regional distributor. Sometimes the regional distributor might be able to be there at the dealership to help him out. And if they need additional help, phone call away from the corporate office. So there's really 3 levels of support, and definitely the product to back it up is there as well. Quality of cut, top notch in the industry. So really, product and support is a big thing.
That's fantastic, and that separates you from some other companies.
I definitely think so.
I agree.
Yeah, excellent. We've had a few dealers ask this. Oh, wait a minute, I'm looking at the wrong question. So Mark B asks, how many machines do I have to buy to get a fleet discount? That's a nice order.
That is a nice order. I'll take that one.
Yeah.
That is tied to the sales side of it. So it's actually pretty easy. In a majority of cases, it's two machines to qualify for fleet. So for example, the Turf Storm coming to market, that will, basically our fleet is 12 points. The Turf Storm is 6 points. The Cheetah is 6 points. The V-Ride is 6 points. The Turf Tiger is 6 points. The Tiger Cat is 5 points. So it's fairly easy for a customer to buy 2 machines and qualify for fleet. Another nice thing that we added this year, we changed this year, was a dollar purchase. So customer walks into a dealership and let's say he's buying that Tiger Cat and he's going to buy that Turf Storm. If his purchase price at fleet purchase price is $20,000 or more, he qualifies for fleet. Now fleet, they are qualified for a year at that fleet price. So if they got their fleet price on these units here and wanted to come back 3 months from now because he picked up business and he wants to buy a Windstorm, he can buy it at fleet price. He's not qualifying over and over again. Now if he comes back and buys that Windstorm, that's 6 points. He extends for another year from the date of that purchase. So you could potentially have up to 2 years at fleet pricing by buying once at your 12 points or $20,000, and then coming back and making a 6-point purchase. Again, a number of different models that qualify for the 6 points, or it might be a couple walk behind in something else.
Sure.
That qualifying for an extension of a year from the date of that purchase. So pretty easy to become a fleet customer with Skag.
I don't know if it's locked up yet, but we're talking about the SFC being part of that program at some point as well.
We will. So when we do go to market with the finish cut mower, we will incorporate that into the fleet program as well.
Awesome.
Great. All right, we've had a few dealers ask this. When will the Turf Storm training material be available on Skag U? That's your training.
I can take that.
Okay.
So Skag University, the training material for that is literally in review process right here. Huge shout out to our friends at Midwest Equipment. I know a lot of them are watching right now. They really helped us get that training material developed. But that is going through final reviews, so we'll have that to you hopefully within the next week or two so dealers can get trained up well ahead of production schedule.
That's
Absolutely.
great. That's great.
Something we want to have out there before we actually release the product. So
Yeah.
it's coming really, really soon.
So when it comes to that also, one more thing to touch on that, Lee, is the Turf Storm. Our dealers will, if they're selling a Turf Storm, they will be Skag University trained on that, as well as our territory manager. So that way the guys that are going out there right now, when Jake releases that, they're gonna be tuned up, let's call it, on the Turf Storm. So that way the things that we talked about today that was on the video and I spoke about, they're gonna be proficient in. So they're gonna be able to walk in or work with a dealer on demos and have that education.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. All right, Tony, we have just a couple more questions. Tony in Montgomery, Alabama has an older Skag, and he wants to know more about Skag's current financing options. Sounds like he might be wanting to buy a new one.
You know
wanna
what?
handle
I
that,
would
Dennis,
love
or-
to sell him a new one. I mean, an older one. I mean, I don't know how old of a one it is, but we need to sell him a new one.
It's all about
It's
financing.
actually our finance programs. We offer an array of different finance programs. What we call the SCAG programs are we work with companies like New Equipment Leasing, Western Financial. We work with TD Bank, which is Yard Card, and then Sheffield Financial. And they have different offerings. So Western and New Equipment do lease programs as well as retail programs. And then specific to retail sales would be Yard Card and Sheffield. And the programs that are offered are anything from 0 for 12 months on up to 0 for 60 months, as well as 199 for 60 months. So an array of different retail finance programs and lease programs. And of course, the programs are determined by customer credit. So well-financed people, good credit customers will qualify for 0% for 60 on Yard Card or 0% for 48 on Sheffield. We sponsor those programs, so we contribute to get those rates for our customers. But they're great companies to deal with. And again, our dealers might utilize like local banks, things like that, and they're welcome to do things like that. But the programs that we offer are with the companies that I mentioned.
All right. All right. Mark L. has a Turf Tiger, and he wants to know how far back he can sharpen his blades before he needs new blades.
I'll take that one.
Okay.
When it comes to sharpening blades, you never want to exceed taking off 1/3 of the total width of the blade.
Okay.
You start to dramatically affect the quality of cut, for one, so you're going to see a drastic drop in what you're seeing on your cut performance. But secondly, you're also starting to compromise the structural integrity of that blade. So anytime you get to the 1/3, you're back there pretty far, so you want to scrap those at that point and get yourself some new blades.
Yeah, I would think you don't have enough body there.
Correct. There's not enough material mass there left. So it's got.
All right. Well, that was our last question. Thank you, gentlemen, and we really appreciate all the expertise that you have offered, and I thank everybody for tuning in. This has been fantastic. Thank you for tuning in to SCAG Live today. We appreciate you watching everything that SCAG has to offer, and we will see you next time.